Hello. I always get really nervous before I start recording because I already have the idea in my head that it's going to go out to people or go out to something and be a product, whether that be on Instagram, TikTok, the socials, YouTube. And so I get psyched out before I even start talking. But I want to go into this and these with the idea that this could be something or it could be nothing. And just talk. That's all. In the case that I do put this anywhere, or anybody sees this, if you don't already know me, my name is Vernon. I'm an artist, primarily a photographer. Make beats from time to time, and I think that's it. Those are my main two exports of art. I write sometimes too, but I wouldn't say that's like a strong suit of mine. Hopefully it could be. But yeah, these are my video journal entry sort of things. I've been contemplating doing this for a little minute, but finally decided to record it. And like I said, if it's something, it'll be something. But if it's nothing, that's fine too. I don't necessarily have a designated topic. Probably just gonna find myself yapping about whatever comes to my mind. Today though, I was talking to a friend of mine who I used to work with a lot on photography. She would model. But I was going through our pictures that we had taken probably at this point, I would say 3 years ago. And it reminded me of how much I miss that artist. And I don't know if I'm that artist anymore. And sometimes I get a little, I'm supposed to feel like I've grown, and I'm supposed to feel like I'm not, who I was 3 years ago, of course. But a lot of times that's spoken of in the context of, I've grown from this exponentially, and, I've increased my talent from here to here, or I've done so many things between here and here. And a lot of times, of course, I think everybody has a gist of how to handle growth, but how do you handle growth when you feel like you're growing apart from who you used to be? And you can only tell that retrospectively, because when you're making progress is progress. And so if you can see that you're heading towards this goal that you see in the future, you see for yourself in the future, you're gonna be happy. But when you see how far you've come from the person who you used to be, what do you do when you feel like that person was a better artist, or you respect that person's artistry better than you respect your artistry currently? And I don't know if I have a solid grasp of how to approach that. And so to put things better into context, when I was making images with her, I was going on a little string of, I had a select few people that I'd work with pretty consistently. So I had a homeboy that I would work with a lot. I had another homegirl that I would work with. And we just make a lot of work. I'd have ideas, but they weren't existing all within the same universe. Or maybe they were, I don't know. But I didn't create them for that purpose. They were just, it was work, it was art. But very natural, very, hey, I got this idea, are you down? Thankfully, they trusted me, with those ideas. I'm grateful for how, and these are people who I had either met. One, the the first girl that I mentioned, met her under the context of taking photos. So that's how I met her when we became, cool after that. But the other two, I knew them from high school, and I really am appreciative for how much trust they put into me to execute ideas and always be so willing to work and whatnot. And I'm glad they were able to trust me, to work with them. But I miss that time in my life where I was just making stuff and I wasn't caring about, is this going to be able to, is this a project worthy of, submitting for an award, or is this a project worthy of something, the audacity of me to only create under the context of, is this good enough for something, and not just this idea wants to exist in the world and it is choosing me to facilitate it. And I don't know what has created this shift. It might be as I get older. I'm only 25, but as I'm getting older, I'm feeling this pressure that like time is running out. And I know it's not, but it's hard to feel like it's not when comparison is the thief of all joy. And so when you see, colleagues or people who exist within, the art community that might be around your age, succeeding, it makes you go like, hey, how do you get there? Hey, how do you do that? And I don't know if I'm on a path to succeed right now. I don't know what path I'm on. Normally I'm like, just trust the process, trust, what path you're on, but I don't feel like I'm creating with the same mindset, with the same trust in myself and in the process. It feels like I'm kind of just existing. Now, is that bad? Because you have to, experience life to be able to pull something from. And for a minute, I felt kind of empty. I have felt empty. And, it's possible that I just don't have anything to draw the work from. And maybe everybody goes through, dry spells. Now how long they're supposed to last, I don't know. But I say all that to say I'm going to try and loop that back into what I was talking about. I miss the artist that I used to be. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that means that I haven't progressed, or if I have progressed, I've moved in the wrong direction, or if between those 3 years to now I haven't done anything that makes me proud or feel in that same way. And I don't just want to be a complainer, and just say, well, woe is me. I know I got to get out and do the work, but I'm gonna start to segue. Ever since I moved to LA, I haven't felt like myself as an artist. And that could be due to numerous things, like, me not knowing anybody out here. I hate maneuvering around LA with the traffic and, all the different complaints that come with LA. I feel like everybody kind of says the same thing if you're not from here. But it's had a large impact on my process that I was making art in before, which was I just, would hit anybody up in the area, anybody that I knew, and something would happen, Didn't have to be like a model or anybody with experience, just something would happen. But when you don't know anybody, it starts to become a thing of like, I know Dina Lawson, she casts from the street, so she'll see somebody on the subway and, cast them for a photo shoot. I don't know if I got that in me, but I might have to if I have to, if this is what I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna say I'm a photographer, if I'm gonna say that I need to portrayed in that kind of portrait sense, that's what I gotta do. I mean, documentary wise, that's a whole nother ball game that I think has been coming a little bit, easier to me. Not easy, but it's been making a little bit more sense just with how I've been learning how to work. But that's work too. You got to get out and you got to talk to people. And if I'm all locked up in the house, that's not gonna happen. Um, but I don't know. On a positive note, I think all of this, for so long, I made photography my identity, and I feel myself detaching from that thought process, and now I would spend so much money on cameras, film, equipment, and I would go broke behind photography. Which sometimes, I mean, the starving artist trope, the starving artist trope. But I don't want to do that. But and even in doing that, I think I lost my own identity. I was watching a video about fashion. I've been really wanting to improve the way I dress. I think a lot of times the way I feel when I go outside has a direct um, connection to what I'm wearing. And for a long time, I wasn't really caring about my clothes or how they fit or anything like that. But I remember somebody was saying your fashion is directly connected to your practice and what you do, and so um, I have to let that be true. And if I'm an artist, that's cool, but I don't have to. I'm still a person. I got to take care of myself, and I would argue that clothes are part of shelter. Shelter is one of the three primal needs that we need as people. And so if I'm not sheltering my body appropriately, then I'm missing out in that regard. But yeah, so I've been buying a lot more clothes and working on taking care of myself, being a better person, and maybe me striving to be a better person and taking care of myself as a person eventually will lead me back into feeling like a more complete artist. I hope so. I would always tell people that art is the only thing that makes me feel whole. And to an extent, that's still true. I don't think anything else makes me feel like more of a being than when I'm creating art. And so, hopefully, as time goes on, start to feel that a little more. Next year, I have a lot more ambitious projects that I want to start getting into. That would love to talk more. I don't want to bring them up now because that's another thing. This upcoming year, I want to stop talking about what I'm gonna do and talk about things that I've done after I do them. And so, I don't want to just have like concepts of a plan. You dig what I'm saying? I want to have results that I'm speaking on. And so, yeah. And in closing, I have a suggestion. And so, I've been working with I'll call her a colleague. We've formed kind of like a mentor-mentee kind of relationship, but mentoring and menting, it comes across as a bit how I want to word it, like a facade almost, or it can become too professional. And when you're working with people who you actually really respect them, not only their practice and their works, but like them as a person, I don't like just calling them my mentor. I think mentoring is something that you do, but a colleague and like a friend and somebody that you look to for advice and whatnot, or just like look up to all the while. She gave me a task of basically defining my practice and also defining all the things that come together to make up my practice. And so for me, I think my mind is being rearranged as far as how I look to approach life and art and things of that nature. And so my practice, at the core of it, what I would say that my practice surrounds everybody's practice surrounds answering questions. Um, the way that I answer the questions that I have, and I have too many questions honestly to really expound upon right now. I have questions about race relations and colonialism and how that affects us mentally today. Um, the effects of, I mean, this goes hand to hand, but Southern chattel slavery and how that still remains impactful today. The mental health of black men. Um, all those questions kind of create the core of what I'm looking to answer on a day to day basis. And those are things I genuinely think about every day. Now, if that's the core, how I start to answer those questions, it becomes through photography. Been really wanting to get into collage. I think as I was doing this project, something that became apparent to me is my love for taking things that almost completing my own puzzle, out of pieces that might not necessarily connect together, or reworking um, things that are already put together. And so I say all that to say I make beats as well, and I primarily sample music to make those beats. I chop stuff up sometimes. I loop stuff out. Think like Jay Dilla or Knowledge or any of those masters of that craft. But that's what you're doing when you're sampling music. You're taking a piece of music that's already put in order and you're rearranging it to your liking. I think collage works in that same kind of fashion, to where you're taking something from maybe a newspaper or a magazine or something, and you're reshaping all those things to create an image that you want to see. And so I would love to approach collage eventually. Like I said, I write from time to time. Mostly I've been trying to get into fiction, but I think I mostly write essays. I think that's my strong suit. And so I can challenge myself to write fiction, but I think essays might be my thing. And yeah, so those normally are the things that I go to find answers to those questions and address those questions. And then on that next layer, and I haven't actually drawn this out, but I think this is how I'm going to present all these things the next time I talk to her. On the outside of that is all the things that I'm doing to, I would almost say, like, intellectually fund those methods, which would be really things that I need to do more. Like I need to travel more. I need to take care of myself more. I need to probably talk to my family more. I have to feed myself, and I need to read more. But I've also, the media that I've been consuming, I think, has been feeding me intellectually. So I've been loving listening to jazz. Honestly, a lot of music that just doesn't have words and is more instrumentation based. There's a progressive metal band I like called Animals as Leaders. The guitarist is one of the guitarists. His name is Tosin Abasi, I believe. Genius, amazing guitarist, and I love people who take things that already exist and exist in a certain way and start like reshaping it. And so the way he plays guitar, the guitar is naturally a melodic percussive instrument, because you have to hit the strings to make a sound. But I would just go look him up, because I don't want to disrespect his practice by wrongly describing it. But the way he's playing the guitar and stretching what it means to be a percussive melodic instrument is just fascinating to me. But it's the kind of things that you do when you want to really stretch the bounds of what it means to be whatever kind of artist you are. What else am I doing? And so I'm learning how to play the guitar as well, and just understand music a little bit more. But yeah, finding those things that don't necessarily have anything to do with my that middle layer of practices, that I mainly go to, but finding ways to feed those. And so yeah, so that's a goal of mine. I need to write all that down because I gotta have this tour by Tuesday. And this might be another way that I feed, because I've been wanting to journal, but this kind of serves as a video journal. And so yeah, I think I've been talking long enough, but yeah, that's some of the things that are going on with me. I want to try and do these often. I won't say how often, but fairly often. How to structure them, I don't know. I normally talk about art for the most part, and I don't want them to always be so somber. I mean, I'm naturally pretty chill when I'm uncomfortable, and I'm uncomfortable now. But the more comfortable I get, maybe I'll be more I don't know, talk about something less serious. But I don't know. I also want to be genuine though, so if that's just how I feel, that's how I feel. But if I want to come and talk about like wrestling or something, do that too. But yeah, it's probably go on my if this goes anywhere, I have a beats page that I might just make like a regular page to be a host. Cause I think YouTube, I miss when YouTube was just like an assortment of videos that didn't necessarily have to have like an organized theme or whatever. And so me as a person, I've never like separating me from any of my arts. Like if I make beats and I put them, wherever, that's cool. Then if I make photos and I put them on the same spot, that's cool because it's all me. And so it'll probably go on that one. If it, like I said, if I decide to share this. But yeah, I appreciate anybody who's listening to this and made it to this point. Because like I said, I've just been yapping. But yeah, that's it.